Hello everyone. So for today's video, we're going to be hiking the Mount Sterling Trail up to the Mount Sterling Fire Tower. This is located in Haywood County, North Carolina. Closest towns to us are probably Waynesville, Maggie Valley on the North Carolina side, and on the Tennessee side, probably Newport, I believe. This is going to be tower number 16 out of 22 on the challenge for me. This is a sign here. It's at the trailhead off of a long, bumpy road. We're going to be going to the tower, which is pretty close to this campsite number 38. This is located inside of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Basically come up I-40, you'll cross into Tennessee, if you're coming from North Carolina that is, and you'll take the first exit off I-40. And after that, you'll take a couple other roads, can't remember the names of them, and then you'll get on Mount Sterling Road, which is also called Cataloochee Turnpike, I believe. And then you stay on it for around 6 miles, which most of that is it's a dirt road. I kind of started it at dark, and then hitting the trailhead here just about 10 minutes after sunrise. Should be a tough trail. It's around 2.5 miles or just above that, but you do climb around 2,000 feet elevation gain. So it'll be a pretty strenuous hike, but we're gonna get started. So today's date is October the 24th. The colors in this area are very close to, if not at peak. So in terms of the colors, it should be a pretty decent hike. This is one that's kind of less trafficked. There's only 2 cars besides mine parked at the bottom. This was a former, they refer to it as a Jeep road. Can't really tell by the video, but one side of it is really washed out, and it's very, very narrow. And there's the gate at the bottom. I think it just stays closed all the time unless there's a park ranger or someone from the Forest Service out here maybe. If you did come out here and it was open, I guess if you had a Jeep or something that's built for off-road or rugged, you might could try to venture to the top, but I'm only around half a mile into this, so I don't know how much different it's going to be. A lot of the ground is covered in leaves. Squirrels kind of scare me. So, just an old roadbed. Kind of a rut right here in the middle. I've reached kind of a flat spot. Haven't really took a break yet. Just kind of powering through. This will kind of give me one. It is a climb, I'll tell you that. Whew. Leaves are completely covered, so if you're walking, you can hear the noise from it. Which is good and bad. Good because if there's any type of creatures or wildlife, they can hear you coming. Hopefully run away. It's bad because I could slip on it, but this is pretty flat so far. I mean, the texture of the ground is flat. Getting ready to go back uphill, looks like. Before we bottom out one more time. It's kind of been this way the whole time so far. No opening for views yet. Of course, if this was winter, there would be no leaves here. You'd probably have a constant view, at least to this side. All right, powering on. All right, so just before I ended the last clip, just approached the junction sign here for the long bunk trail. And actually only went a half mile up to this point. Seemed like further because of how much I was climbing, but 2.2 miles from here. Got my tracking app started at the bottom to see what it picks up. It's kind of mixed online how far it is, because you know, one says 5.4, one says 5.6, and the trail app that I use actually says 5.1. I'm betting the sign is gonna be more accurate. And we'll find out. Might get a little rocky. I take back what I said at the beginning. I don't think you'd be taking a Jeep or really any type of vehicle up this. Parts of it's too rugged so far. Too many rocks and sharp rocks too. A couple of places I didn't capture on film that were overgrown and very narrow, like half of this maybe. And some parts where the trail was kind of washed to the center, where it's almost like a ditch runs through it. All right, so I've stopped in a little switchback here. We're gonna go that way next. But there's just a little bit of an opening here. Not really sure which mountain this is. And I can't quite see where exactly the tower is. This may be one, you may not really get a view of it until you get up close to it. There's a little squirrel behind me. But, just gonna take a little break and have some water for a second. I think I'm about 1.5 miles into the trail, so we'll have just a little over 1 mile left. So far I'm doing pretty good on time, but it is all uphill other than about 50-yard section just before the other trail intersection that we saw. It is definitely a climb. Squirrel making a lot of noise. All right, continuing on that way. It's been fairly rocky like this for the past little bit. It's kind of been that way on and off. This will be more of a challenge going back. Extra caution with the leaves and all. Like another curve or switchback coming up. So I've reached a point to where all the trees have switched to these pines or firs or whatever type of trees these are. There's still some mixed in, but for the most part it's these firs now. And of course the rocks are just continuing. So I've come across another narrow opening on the trail where you can hit a really nice view. It is narrow, but you can see some clouds resting there. Zoom in, you can kind of see the coloring. Again, the video may not do it quite to its full color, but pretty nice viewpoint. Made it to another junction here. Basically telling you Mount Sterling Gap, which is where we parked, is back the way I come from. I think we go a little further this way, and should be right up on top of it somewhere. Just curious what this sign says here. Awesome Mountain Trail, Swallow Fork. Let's see. Can't make out that first word, but something Hollow Gap Trail. Benton McKay Trail. All right. Almost there. This kind of trail has kind of leveled off too. So maybe we'll be almost rested by the time I get there. If it doesn't pick up again. Reached a spot where you can tie off your horse if you're on a horse. But they are prohibited from this point. Here's a little side trail that goes through the woods there. May check that out on the way back. I do believe. Our destination is right around the corner here. Very soon. We have made it. I'm up on the third platform, which is about as high as I'm going to go because a couple of these steps are very loose. I almost lost my footing on one of them. So I'm about at my comfort level after that happened. But there's an awesome view up here. If you're a little less scared of heights like me, or less than me, you might can make it to the top because I've got one platform and then the top is just above that. And I'm gonna head on back down. All right, so I'm fixing to head back down. So I'm gonna go over some information real quick. So this is a Mount Sterling Fire Tower, of course. It was constructed in 1935 by the Civilian Conservation Corporation, otherwise known as the CCC. The tower stands 60 feet tall and has 78 stairs to the top, and it sits at an elevation of 5,842 feet, which is the highest elevation of any fire tower remaining in the eastern United States. It's located in Haywood County, like I said before. Closest town is probably Waynesville, and the tower is under the ownership of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It does offer a 360-degree view, which I have read is just beneath the tower because you'll have obstructions because of the window panes from the top, and the condition is rated as poor. The tower itself, as far as the stairs and the climb, I don't know that I'd say it's poor. I would say that it's moderate. There were some loose steps, and I did hit one of them. It kind of lost my balance just for a second. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, so I didn't go any further than that. But other than that, I wouldn't personally say that it's poor. And then there once was a 17x7 log cabin that served as the living quarters, which is right over there by the campsite we saw when we was coming in. That was the living quarters for the tower watchman. And it was removed in the 80s, and then it was made as backcountry campsite in the Smoky National Park, campsite number 38, which does have a little fire pit, and it's a pretty wide area. The guys that were camping there had a hammock set up, and then they had 3 small tents set up, so pretty nice area. Probably not a bad spot to camp. All right, so I'm gonna start the rocky descent to the bottom. All right, so we're at the point where we only have about half a mile to go back to the parking area. Just want to give some thoughts and comments on the hike and everything real quick before we close out the video. All in all, overall, I highly recommend the hike. There are some things to know about it, a lot of which you can see and understand online from different reviews and trail apps and just different resources such as that. But in my opinion, the route up is it's definitely a workout. This spot that I'm going through right now, until you get to the very top where you're just about to reach the tower, is the only spot that kind of levels off. So really on the climb, this spot where I'm at now is the only break you get. And the majority of the trail has baseball to softball sized rocks just kind of scattered about everywhere. And then there's some tree roots, and then there's some gravel in places, which I kind of didn't really understand that. I don't know if those were maybe some repair jobs they had to do on, little sections of the trail for some reason. But on top of all that, there's leaves you can see right here where I'm at now. It's not totally covered, but in just a minute it'll be completely covered again. When you add the leaves on top of all the rocks and everything, that kind of adds another variable. So you have to keep that in mind. Not so much going up, but coming back. Whenever you're going downhill, and I don't get out of breath coming downhill, just like any typical trail. But my knees, they start to get weak and become taxed over a period of time. You just kind of gotta watch your footing extra close to make sure you don't slip on a rock that maybe you didn't see because it's covered up. But that's just something to keep in mind. But it did take me about 3.5 hours to get up there and to this point where I'm at now. I probably will finish it up in the next 15 minutes or less. And that includes taking 3 or 4 short breaks on the way up, and then I probably spent half an hour at the top. That includes all that. Overall, highly recommend it. This is a great time to come. If you wanted to avoid the leaves coming on the ground, I would suggest maybe late spring or early summer. I would have better luck then, but I'm not exactly sure if you would or not. This is a Another thing to mention is this trail was lightly trafficked. I hiked from the start to the finish and did not see a single person hiking. I got to the top, there were 2 people camping, and on the way back I've seen 3 people hiking alone, and then 2 women that were hiking together, and that's the only people I've seen the whole time, which is kind of uncommon for some of the trails, but given the difficulty, that could be part of the reason why. But, I think that's going to do it for this one. If you like this video or videos like these, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching.